Hello, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about, are popular book talk books worth it? Yes, no, maybe so, who freaking knows? So I really love the idea of this, and I will say that TikTok books are really popular for a reason, and it's because a lot of people really like them. So my opinions are exactly that, they're just mine. And you might love them, you might hate them, who knows? But we're just gonna jump right in. Starting off strong with Assistance to the Villain. It's a fall read, super cute, love the sprayed edges, love, love, love. No, not worth it. I personally just did not vibe with it. It's double point of view. It's 2 points of view, but it's also third person, which I don't vibe with. I didn't really enjoy the story, I'm not going to lie. And I know that there's a second book that's come out that a lot of people are really enjoying, and I just personally did not. No. Going off with Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. This one I read and I adored. I love, love, love this book. It's so cute. So I would say yes, but only to this book. I haven't read the rest of the series. There's 3 more books. This is the one for winter, so there's one for spring, one for summer, and one for fall. And I haven't read the rest of those, but I've heard they're not as good. So I would say yes to this, but maybe to the series, because who knows about if those are actually good or not. Yes. Hard yes. Anything that Emily Henry has ever written in her life. This is Book Lovers. She's written Happy Place, she's written Beach Read, she's written People We Meet on Vacation, she's written Funny Story. She's written 1,000,001 good books. I love everything she's ever written. She's like one of my absolute favorite authors. I love her. Beach Read is definitely my favorite, and that's the one that's like the most TikTok popular. But Book Lovers was what I had on my shelf. Beach Read, my mom is borrowing, so it's at home in Illinois. But as a whole, anything by Emily Henry is a hard yes. Go for it. Read it. 10 out of 10. Maybe. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I really enjoyed this book, but I'm also a person who really enjoys sports romance and hockey romance. So if you're into hockey romance, like if that's your genre, which that is my genre. If you need any hockey romance books, I got you. I got you good. So if that's your genre, if that's something you really enjoy, then this is a hard yes. However, if you're more of a dabble in romance, a dabble in fantasy, a dabble in here and there, if you're just dabbling, then this would not be what I recommend for you. I would definitely recommend things that are a little bit different. I would probably recommend Elle Kennedy's Briar U or Off Campus series for romances instead. Or even Emily Henry, who I just recommended. I would recommend any of those instead. But if you're a die-hard romance fan, then you're gonna enjoy this. If you are just a dabbler, then possibly not. So maybe. Depends on the person. Hard yes. Hard yes. I love Red, White, and Royal Blue. I have this one. I have the special edition. This is the first edition, so it's back. It's got so much story to it. I love this book. It is in third person, which is not my favorite, but it gives me so many happy vibes. I just love this. It's queer. It's royalty. It's everything that I've ever wanted and more. So if you've been looking at this and saying do I read this? The answer is yes, definitely, 110%. Hard yes. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one. Fourth Wing. Okay. I thought it was just okay. It was fine. It was decent. Was it amazing? No. Would I read it again? Definitely not. So would I recommend it? Again, it's a maybe. If you are like a hardcore fantasy lover, then I would say yes. If you have been seeing it on your page and you are debating on whether or not to read it, I would go for yes. Like, why not? Go ahead, read a book. Read a gosh darn book. But if you are looking at it and you're like, oh, this is really popular, but I don't really know if it's my genre, don't read it. It's not. It's not made for you. It's made for the people who are like hardcore fantasy lovers. It's made for the people who like look at this and they're like, oh my God, I have to have it. Because it wasn't made for me. I am not really a fantasy person. I'm definitely more of like a young adult person, a romance girly, like all of those things. So Fourth Wing, it wasn't made for me. It was just average. It was just okay. So I don't really think that helps, but who knows? But A Court of Thorns and Roses, this is another maybe. You know, I wanted to say yes to just about everything that's in my pile, but at the same time, it's a maybe because it really depends on the person. So for me, I loved A Court of Thorns and Roses. 5-star read. I love this book. I've read it a million times. I'll read it 1,000,001 more. However, this series is like 8 or 10 or like 20 or 30 or 80 books long, and I just can't get into that. I can't. So I've read the first 2 books and I'm halfway through the third and I gave up. And you know what? That's okay. I like the first 2.5 books. They make me happy and I enjoy them. But after you get past 2.5, I'm done. I don't want to read the rest of the series. I just don't care. And if you don't like series books, I wouldn't recommend picking it up simply because this is a series. It's a very long series. It's a very in-depth series. It's got a lot to it. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of different plots and love stories and what's going on and all of that. So if you like a good series book, if you need like something thick to commit to, then yes. And if you're okay with stopping in the middle of a series, also yes. But if you can't commit, don't read this book. Don't. But I love it, so maybe. I'm doing really good. All of these are maybes and like depending upon the person and oh well. I've got a solid yes next though. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I love this book. I love this book. This book gives me like Jennifer Lynn Barnes vibes. This book gives me young adult vibes. It's like, it gives me Criminal Minds vibes. It gives me just all the vibes. All the vibes. I love this book. And if you are a young adult book reader, if you are into mysteries, if you're into like any of those things, yes. Actually, even if you're not, I'm going to say yes anyways because I love this book and I'm going to force everybody that I love to love this book as well. So I love all of you. You should love this book too. You don't have to because I'm not like that, but that's a little toxic. But I love this book. It makes me really happy. And if you are on the fence on whether or not to read it, I would say yes, for sure. And then we've got Carly Fortune. Carly Fortune. I don't really know. Every Summer After was a really, really good book. This one's popular on TikTok for the summer. I really enjoyed it. It was a solid like 4.5 or 5-star read for me. However, her second book, Meet Me at the Lake, didn't enjoy as much. Only 2.5 or 3 stars. Like it was fine, but it wasn't good. And I haven't read her third book in the series yet simply because I don't know how I feel about it. But Every Summer After, worth it 110%. Meet Me at the Lake, not worth it, don't get it. But again, that's just my opinion. So, who knows? And last up is like my favorite, my absolute favorite. I love her with my whole heart, Miss Allie Hazelwood. Okay, Check and Mate is not the most popular book talk book that there is of hers. She wrote The Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically, Bride, and are not in love. So she has written a ton of books, but Check and Mate is my favorite, which is why I picked it. So if you are thinking about picking up Ali Hazelwood, I would 100% recommend her. I love all of the books she's ever written, except for Love Theoretically. I'm not going to lie. If you're a STEM girly, like if you are a science, technology, smart girl, like these books are for you. If you are like a no thoughts, just vibe, then maybe not. Like just no thoughts, no thoughts. But I really liked The Love Hypothesis, and then Love on the Brain and Love Theoretically were not my favorites, but she came back with Check and Mate, and I would 10 out of 10 recommend it. This is like my all-time favorite Ali Hazelwood book. So if you see this on your book talk, 10 out of 10 would recommend. You should pick it up. I kind of zoomed past all of those, but they all ended up being maybes too, like depending upon your situation. But honestly, I read and enjoyed most of those books. So even if they're maybes for you, they were yeses for me. They might be no's for somebody else. And who knows? That's just the way that life goes. You either enjoy it or you don't, but they're popular for a reason, so somebody's got to love them. So who knows? Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!